Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I hope all of you are doing well, and today I'm going to be doing a video showcasing all the new mechanics you can find in the new set for Myo Mashup TCG, Radiant Garden. Originally, I was going to split this into a series where I would detail a different mechanic in each of the videos in that series, but I decided it'd be more convenient for both you and for me to put them all into one single video. But don't worry, if you look in the description of this video, you'll see timestamps for all the different mechanics I go over in this video, and so you can click around to find the one you want more information about. But with that out of the way, let's get started. I'm going to start by talking about arguably the biggest mechanic here, and that is the treasure relics. This is a new type of relic that is being introduced in Radiant Garden, and these are relics that stay in play, but they don't get attached to characters like the modifiers do. You could think of these as modifiers that attach to you as a player, in a sense. And the one thing, and as for how many treasures you can have in play at a time, players may have up to 2 treasure relics in play at once. And once a player has 2 treasures in play, they are not able to play any others until one of them is removed, whether by another person's action card, or some treasures like Coin of the Radiant Lotus Gear can remove themselves if you use their ability. Now, there's a pretty big distinction to talk about with the treasures, as some cards will distinctively call out treasures. So you have cards like Florosaurus Rex here who destroy target relics. These can be either modifiers or treasures, they can be any of them. But you also have cards like Swiss Army Droid that specifically reference modifiers, so treasures do not count toward this. Just to give you some examples there of things to look out for when you're playing the cards. Next is a new keyword ability. This is Ward. This is originally an ability that was going to be in the first set of Myo Mashup, but I decided to remove it, and it's going to be here instead. This is an ability that states that your opponents cannot choose this character except to attack. So if your opponent plays an action card that says to target a character, characters with ward cannot be chosen in that specific way. Now this sounds like all-encompassing, like it'd be pretty powerful. It can protect your cards from all the various actions out there, but there are a couple of things that can get around the ward ability. For example, it does not protect from card effects that impact multiple characters at once, things that affect the character's controller, or any attack targets of the character with ward. And just to give you some examples there, cards like Mutual Destruction, they target the player specifically. It tells that the players are the ones who choose the characters they control to get destroyed. So if your opponent happens to have their only character they control is a character with ward, they have to choose it to destroy it with Mutual Destruction. Similar thing with Apocalypse Now, it destroys all characters on the field, so any characters with ward will also get destroyed. And then there's Redirect, which changes the target of the attack to another in-play character. So since the target of the attack is being targeted, not the attacker itself, if that attacker happens to have ward, it will still be affected by redirect because it's changing the attack target. Next major mechanic is -1/-1 counters. This is a special counter that stays on your characters when they get placed on them. There are quite a few characters that can place -1/-1 counters on to characters as a result of their abilities. And each -1/-1 counter reduces the attack and defense of that character by 1 point each, and these counters stay on the character unless that character moves to a different zone, such as being returned to the hand, shuffled back into the deck, or being sent to the discard pile. Another thing that is related to these -1/-1 counters, as well as any stat reducing abilities in general, is that attack and defense cannot go below 0. So 0 is the lowest a stat can be, and that's just kind of the all-encompassing rule around stat reduction effects. I just wanted to mention that here in case there was any confusion on that. Next big thing is not really a new mechanic per se, but it is a new term being introduced, and that is the resource deck. This is going to be the official name of that 10 card deck of PowerPoint tokens that you have in addition to your 40 card main deck. You'll notice cards like Spectacled Sunflower refer to the resource deck. This is what it's referring to, just that 10 card PowerPoint token deck. And the reason for this terminology is to make the cards in that resource deck distinct from cards that turn into PowerPoint tokens when sent to the resource row from other zones. So there are cards like Delta Warrior Flora Sky who can put a card into your resource zone. Those cards are not considered cards from your resource deck, and they're going to be cards that can affect cards aside from your resource deck. So it's definitely something you'll want to keep an eye out for. Final mechanic I want to introduce is a new type of domain effect. This is a pretty brief one, but you'll notice like on Small Fry Village, you have an effect that states that you create a Small Fry character token when you play it. And there's an act ability that just says to create a 2/2 Small Fry token. And effects that say for you to do something refers specifically to the person playing the domain or who controls the domain. And if the U is not specified, anyone is capable of using the ability. So anyone can pay to create a 2/2 Small Fry token once per turn. But when you play the domain, you're the only one who gets the token. So this is another thing you want to keep an eye out on in future sets for domain cards to have abilities like this. Think of it as something a little extra that you'll get when playing the domain, because even though domains affect everyone, you'll sometimes get something a little extra. And that about does it for all the mechanics in set 2. Thank you very much for watching. If you have questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'll be sure to read them and try to answer them. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and keep an eye out for whatever videos I upload next. And until then, take care.